Hello everyone, so I thought I would try a different angle today. I am sneezing a little bit. My hay fever is not as bad as it normally is, which is fantastic. I have been doing my aligned actions and it's really paying off. Anyway, so what I wanted to help with today is basically to help you identify your passion and your purpose, because when you live your passion and your purpose, not only is it deeply satisfying to you, and you wake up with like enthusiasm and excitement and a thirst for like learning and doing and practicing and like really moving through to thrival in a way where your circumstances aren't pushing and pulling you all over the place, because now you're starting to create them rather than being in default mode to them. Right? You're crossing the bridge. And so when you understand, right, about your passion and your purpose, you won't you will still have obstacles, right, to overcome, but you won't feel the way that you used to, because you now understand deeply what it is you're really good at, what you really enjoy, and what provides massive value to others and like just the whole, like the earth and everything, right? So I saw an advert, I think it was on YouTube, around a composting site. Right, it's called the Lumi Bin, and it looks amazing. I haven't tried it. There's actually a waiting list for it. And given like how much change I've had in my life, I don't actually have. I've released so much that I don't actually have much stuff. I don't have much food. Like I don't have many like processed food where I live. So the Lumi Bin would be amazing for me, because I do have a juicer, and I use it every, like, I'd say like about 5 days out of 7 at the moment, right? And so what this bin does is it takes the food waste and it turns it into soil, right? Which is amazing, because I also have plants in my kitchen. Everywhere I go, right, I seem to just like collect plants. I love them. So I've got an avocado, which I ate a couple of years ago, and it sprouted and it's really nice, right? It's grown. I've got a snake plant and a lavender and stuff like that. So for me, right, this bin would be fantastic, because then I can just recycle what I use in a way that's simple, fast, effective, good for me, good for the planet, right? And all of those kind of things. But if that person hadn't followed their intuition, they hadn't taken action on the idea, and I have no idea whether they went through challenges or not. I imagine that they had, things to overcome. Then that would be something that's not brought to fruition. It's not brought to fruition. So when you step into what your passion and your purpose is, right, which could be another composting thing, they don't always have to be the same. I mean, there is a waiting list for the Lumi Bin, so there's enough market, there's enough demand out there. And like the iPhone, Samsung was a fast follower. I don't know who created it first, right? But basically, it doesn't have to be an original idea all the time. It just has to be something that's aligned to you. So I really love teaching around your unconscious mind and emotional healing and emotional intelligence, and actually connecting you to your passion and purpose and your joy and peace and love and all of that sort of stuff. And it's natural to me, right? So all of my clients get amazing results because of the way that it's supposed to flow through me. And I can tell you that I have resisted it. I have been to hell and back, right, for this thing. But it just doesn't leave me. It never, ever leaves me. And when I do what I'm supposed to be doing, in alignment with what I'm supposed to be doing, everything just flows, right? It's only the mind that tells you that oh, I don't think this is right. Oh, I think we should stay safe. Oh, I don't think you should change. Or, and once you start to understand the mind, you'll understand what it's actually trying to do and what its purpose is. So once you can bring it back into alignment with what you actually want to create, then you will start to move up, and the momentum will build, and then you'll move up again and again and again. So if you're not sure what your passion and your purpose is, but you're feeling bored, right? You're not feeling fulfilled. You might even have a lot of stuff in your life. You might not. You might even have found your passion and purpose and are not really committed to it. And so for both of those things, right? Number one, ask, right? Just ask questions really well. Like, I am open and willing to receive the information around what is aligned to me. And you can shorten that, right? It doesn't have to be such a long sentence. Something that I'm working on, right? It can be a bit more direct. But once you ask, then you're going to receive, right? You will receive. Maybe you will bump into somebody who will, start telling you all their problems, because that's kind of how it happened to me, right? And then you'll see a video, and then something will pull you, and you will just know that that's meant for you. Then you have to take action on it, and that does require courage, which means that you have to do something new. And that thing will challenge you, because your mind doesn't like anything new. It doesn't trust it. But it's actually how you grow. So if you don't do new things, you actually become, well, one, you get really bored, but two, you are not fully utilizing all of your potential, right? So you have neural pathways that want to be lit up. And if you're always cycling the same neural pathways, then it doesn't really it doesn't expand you, it doesn't grow you. If anything, you will see people shrinking, people complaining, people being miserable, people complaining about the circumstances, other people kind of cycling in those loops. And then the second thing around that is it's really fun. It's really fun to do new things, even if you're scared. The first time I did a swivel hip on the trampoline, I have to say I'm not like a person that likes heights and things like that, or I wasn't. But as I challenge myself in the right pace, right, the pace that's right for me, I freaking love it. Right, so I did a swivel hip, and then obviously I started to walk the wall. I must go back to trampoline, I haven't been for a while, but it was doing something new, right? Or even fixing a Rubik's Cube, or catching a ball for the first time with my left hand 17 times consecutively. When I was growing up, I had a belief that as a girl I couldn't catch, right? Or, there's so many things that I've done, to be honest, in these last 4 or 5 years that have been really, just so fun, right? Sorry, getting distracted and watching the cameraman walk upstairs. Anyway, so ask. That's the first thing. Ask what, what is it? And then as you start to feel the pull, follow it. And then you can wait for confirmation, which will be a second thing, or you can just follow your hunch and see what happens. There really is no right way, right? It's just what is right for you. And sometimes by the conditioning of the mind, it might feel like this isn't right, but many times you won't see the fruit of that step until later. You won't understand that the seeds that you've sown won't take time to gestate, right? And then they bloom later. That being said, you can have massive results in a very short space of time. So don't limit it. Just understand that that you are open and willing to see the possibilities. Now, if you found your purpose, right, and you have an idea, and you're kind of stepping on the path, as I was a few years ago, then the most important thing is to keep consistency going, and to really start to commit, right? Really start to commit to what it is you want. And then what you'll find is, as you go through the journey, you will find yourself becoming larger than your circumstances, right? So you won't feel limited by what's in front of you, because you're going to start to see new opportunities. You're going to start to become more resourceful. You're going to start to trust, right, that whatever has come into your life that's pulling you, right, is for you. So then you're just going to find a way to make it happen. And that in itself is really, it's huge. It's really huge, because then you break through another level of your conditioned mind, which has been holding you back, and then you start to see that there's potential for, you know, like all these other opportunities and growth and things that you can experience in this life. But the third thing that I will bring it back to, the core, is your heart. So, you know, I think for me, like, I have passion, I have purpose. Every day is amazing, pretty much, right? Even if I have moments during the day, pretty much every day is amazing. And but for me, it's really bringing it back to the heart, because the more that you unravel the conditioning, the more you open yourself up to love and peace and understanding and compassion, and actually having a direct relationship with God, right, where you're not trying to do everything on your own anymore, right, from your own limited mind. You're still taking responsibility and you're stepping into maturity, but you're trusting, and you're not in conflict. You're not battling everything and everyone all the time anymore. So your intention becomes really, really pure, and that's a really clear place to be. Like, being in truth and flowing with truth, even when you have things to move through, right? I still have patterns of avoidance, and I know about them, I'm aware of them, right? Not as much as before, right? Nowhere near as much as before. But, you know, I can acknowledge them as I move through the journey, and still be graceful and peaceful and compassionate and loving to myself, right, as I go through that. So that is my video for today. If you don't know what your passion and your purpose is, ask, and then be willing to step forward with courage, right, at your own pace. Sometimes it's big, sometimes it's small, sometimes it's in the middle, sometimes, you know, it's one or the other. It's really dependent on who you are as a person. And then second, if you found your passion and your purpose, then commit to really committing to it and to really taking that journey. So I have to say that for me, my passion and purpose looks a lot like people who, if they don't follow it, it's very painful anyway. Like, it's much more painful if they don't follow it than if they do. And that's been slowly dawning on me over the last kind of few years, really. But I love it. I wouldn't change it, and I know it's what my spirit wants, and that leads me to just the most amazing days, right? The most amazing connections, and a level of strength and love and trust and inner peace and excitement and adventure for the journey that in the now, right? And for the future moments that I've never experienced before, never, like, in this way. So that's all I want to say about that. If you have any questions or comments, if there's anything you need help with, if there's anything you want me to talk about to help you, even if you want a process or anything along those lines, drop a comment in the bottom, and I will or, you know, I invite you to message me privately if you want to, right? So my speciality is clearing unconscious blocks, which are kind of rooted in trauma. Everything is kind of rooted in trauma, right? So we're moving our way back to trust. We really are. And so as you clear that emotional pain and the limiting belief that's wired into your neural pathways, what you'll find is not only do you feel much, much lighter and start to see opportunities in full connection, but your growth will be much, much faster. Right, so instead of taking this really slow path of I have to save up for 20 years before I can do this, you will just start to see opportunities and things come into your life that will move you forward so much faster than doing it the long, slow, linear, stressful, robotic, kind of conditioned way that is too rigid. It's way too rigid. Alright guys, take care. Have an awesome day. Bye.